This video is sponsored by Scentbird. More about them later.
So I recently invested in a pair of RayBan Meta Glasses because I like to film people in public and I don't like them knowing about it. But also because I'm a proud father now who's obsessed with taking photos of his baby. She does this thing where she sits there and she's cute, so what am I supposed to do? She has chubby cheeks, my hands are tied. But the thing is, I didn't want this being her field of view all the time. With these, I could take photos of her without shoving a phone into her face. And instead of this being her field of view, it's now this, which is incrementally better. Problem solved. Therapy's inevitable. We'll deal with that when we get to it. But even though I got these for the discrete camera, Meta shoved a bunch of other stuff in there. Shockingly, these are pretty great at playing audio. It's loud enough that it makes you feel like, oh, am I being that douchebag in public who listens to music on their speakers real loud? But somehow others can't really hear it. Hey Meta, play Mr. Brightside. The problem for me is that when I wear these while I walk my dog, sometimes I might accidentally seem crazy or mean. Because it just looks like I'm wearing normal glasses, I've almost certainly ignored people without realizing it. But then if I do see somebody trying to talk to me, I've got to try to tap the control buttons to stop the music. But then a lot of times those don't really work properly, so I gotta use the voice controls.
Hello. Hey Meta, stop.
Or I just need to take the glasses off, which makes it seem like I think what the person said is super dramatic.
Hello. What?
Now that person's gonna get an inflated ego and think that everything they say is super important. That's not the feeling you want to give people. That's how dictators are made. Meta's also shoved their Meta AI in these things, which means you can look at things and be like, hey Meta, look and tell me what I'm looking at, and then it'll tell you. I have not found much use for this because in general, I'm pretty good at identifying the things I'm looking at. It's kind of a cool party trick, I guess. You could be like, hey, my glasses know what I'm looking at right now. And then everybody in the circle will be like, yeah, we do too. And then you can bond over knowing what is in front of you. Meta seems to really be pushing these things right now, and I think it's to try to get people jazzed up for those Orion things they're working on once those come out. You know, those glasses that are so expensive to make that they can't even sell them right now because the price would be too insane. These things look great, and you can play ping pong on them, and the people yearn for ping pong if every VR and AR demonstration ever is to be believed. There's just no other way for people to play ping pong on the go, which is a problem that people find themselves having a lot of the time. And seeing these ping pong machines they're working on that are so expensive to make that they can't even sell them yet, but they are going to be the next big thing, trust them, that got me thinking, hey, is the metaverse still a thing? Because that was supposed to be the next big thing a couple years ago. Did that happen and I missed it? I intended to find out. Just before I dive headset first into the metaverse though, I gotta check in on ad space and the Adstronaut, which is that's what allow me to, I can make videos because of sponsored segments. Here we go.
Hi there, hello, it's me, I'm the Adstronaut. I'm out here in ad space to talk to you about Scentbird. So listen, I used to smell like garbage and therefore people thought I was a trash can. I would say I'm not a trash can, that's just how I smell, but boy, that didn't stop them from throwing their garbage at me. But luckily Scentbird came along and changed all that for me. See, Scentbird is a fragrance subscription service that lets you change your fragrance every month. That gives you the opportunity to try new scents, find your signature one, and stop people from throwing trash at you because they assumed you were a garbage can. Some of the scents I've tried are Dolce from by Rosie Jane. That features 2 kinds of vanilla, a hint of caramel, and a little dash of chocolate. It makes me smell, dare I say, edible. Regent Leather by Thameen London. It's got a little burst of citrus tones and spicy floral. Friggin' makes me feel like a classy leather chair. Grange by Perfumology. That name makes me think of a barn, but the fragrance does not make me smell like one. It's got a rich fig and tobacco thing going on, and finishes of cedar and oak. I also tried Open Road by Drift. That makes me feel like one of those mysterious drifters from the movies, not the serial killer ones, the cool ones. And hey, you can scan the QR code or use code RyanGeorge55 to get 55% off your first month at Scentbird. You can get your first fragrance for just $8 and the next month will only be $16.95. That's RyanGeorge55. Thanks, Scentbird. I'm gonna suggest this to my buddy Flortflap. He freaking stinks. He's probably a trash can.
Thank you, Adstronaut. Those sure were words that you spoke. Now, during the pandemic lockdowns about half a decade ago, just a brief pause here to allow everyone to absorb that gut punch of a measurement of time. What even is time? Do we know? Not really. A couple of friends and I, we got ourselves these Quest 2 headsets, and they were actually pretty awesome to have during lockdown when you weren't allowed to go places. That allowed us to shoot some zombies in VR together and play a whole lot of walkabout mini golf, which is not only a really good mini golf game, but also allows you to fly around just by lifting your putter. And that's something I always thought was missing from real life mini golf. Let me fly to the next hole, you cowards. What's more is that there are hidden golf balls all over these maps that you need to find and collect. In fact, there's one at each hole. which led to my wife overhearing a lot of phrases that made her wonder what kind of games I was really playing. Hey, have you found the balls? What hole are you at? Where'd you get those balls? Come look at my balls. We kind of stopped playing once the world reopened, but Meta's still been hacking away at this VR stuff, I assume. Like, they had officially announced GTA San Andreas in VR a couple years ago. That's got to be out by now. Or canceled. Okay, yeah, no, canceled indefinitely. All right. Looks like they did finally release a sequel to Thrill of the Fight. That's a legitimately good boxing game that gives you an actual workout. Makes you really sweat inside this thing, which is not really made to be sweat inside of. I never did manage to get past this guy, though, which, why does he not go down? I don't understand how this guy's still standing. One of the most popular games now seems to be a game called Gorilla Tag, so I decided to go check that out. I didn't like that. You could just search screaming kid sound effect on YouTube and have a similar experience to what I had on there. I can't recommend that. But the real draw for the metaverse was supposed to be Meta Horizon Worlds. That was Mark Zuckerberg's brainchild, and the ping pong glasses are his other brainchild, and his actual brainchild has not been disclosed to the public yet. So I decided to head in there and see what was going on, and if there were less screaming children. As I entered Meta Horizon Worlds, I was quickly reminded of the beautiful avatar I had made for myself. And if you're wondering what exactly this is, here's a hint. I do not know. I was presented with a list of worlds I could visit, and The Office popped out immediately since that's my favorite show. In fact, my love for The Office is one of the reasons I named my daughter Pamela Ding Dong George. So I decided to click on that, and I was quickly plopped into Dunder Mifflin. And by quickly, I mean it loads pretty slowly. Not a crazy long time, but enough to be like, okay. These worlds have those long loading screens where they try to make it entertaining by changing the phrase once in a while, like, oh, we're hard at work loading this. Ew. That's entertaining for a little bit, but after a while, it's like, you gotta give me a fidget spinner or something. I'm starting to be alone with my own thoughts, and I don't like it. I was finally plopped into Dunder Mifflin and greeted with this kind of intro training video type thing.
Welcome to Dunder Mifflin. Yes, the paper company from that documentary. Anyway, once you get settled, report to Michael's office.
If this VR experience takes place after the documentary has aired, shouldn't it be Dwight's office now? I will admit, it was a pretty cool and surreal experience to feel like I was inside the offices of Dunder Mifflin. This VR world was made by NBC Universal, and they did a great job. Although I tried to sit at Pam's desk and that didn't work. In fact, interacting with anything didn't work, and there was this timer that kept popping up that said, Dwight's paintball challenge is gonna start in a couple of seconds or something, but that never happened. Still, it was a neat experience to walk around the office from the office and just look at the details they put in. Like how you couldn't go into the bathroom because Kevin took a huge dump. That's totally the kind of thing Kevin would do. That guy poops. Was this an experience I would do more than once? Probably not, but still, it was pretty cool. Another place I went to visit was this comedy club, which seems like they have actual comedians performing sometimes. And I am kind of curious to check that out, but there's no world in which I'd be like, oh, it's 7 p.m. It's time for me to put on a VR headset to go watch a live show. That's so many steps. How would I even manage that? I saw some people in the comedy club standing around and talking, but I found myself unable to join the group because of the social anxiety expansion pack I have in real life. So I went to see this place and I saw that you can pick up snacks, but you cannot throw them. They just kind of stay in the air, which is one of the most disappointing things that's ever happened to me. I went to check out the other snacks, but then without realizing I was now standing behind the counter and must have been sending the message that I wanted to pretend like I worked there because an invisible child came up and asked for food.
Can I get a bagel or something?
Bagels weren't even on the list of non-throwables, so I silently gave him a coffee cup and ignored him, and then he went up on stage to tell jokes, so I went to check that out, and so did a bunch of other people.
So, first joke. What did the cow say to the farm?
What?
What did the cow say to the frog? I never found out because the kid left. That little invisible kid left us all hanging and he went to try to find his bagel. Unacceptable. I hated it. Everyone had a worse day because that little kid couldn't focus for long enough to finish a joke and he left. And so I left too, probably never to return. I then went into an Avengers themed world and immediately came across something called the Drone Zone, which is, what is that supposed to be, New Jersey, right? Because of the possible alien invasion? What is going on over there? This world has different stations where you can get different Marvel superpowers. And as soon as I saw that punching people with Hulk hands would make them go flying, that's what I knew I was gonna be spending my time doing in here. So I started punching kids as they were trying to grab powers for themselves or simply walk around. The voices didn't record in my video capture for some reason, but they were saying variations of "stop it" and stuff like, "who is Hulk? Ban the Hulk." I jumped around and did this till I was bored, which didn't take very long at all. Then I decided to explore and I found the Infinity Gauntlet. What crazy powers would this thing give me, I wondered. It teleports you on top of a building and then that's where you are and you can continue to be there or leave. The choice is yours, I guess. Not super exciting. So then I left, probably never to return, and starting to sense a pattern here. I went inside a new world that was about making pizzas and saw that a bunch of kids were hard at work making pizzas for this gang of people that were not moving. I grated some cheese a little bit, which was entertaining for several seconds. And then I realized I could throw pizzas in the trash, so I started doing that for a little while. I was pretty quick about it, so people didn't even really realize what I was doing. But then this one kid did, and he brought me over to the oven and told me to get in the fire and end my own life. I tried and it didn't work, and then I left, probably never to return. I got a notification from Meta to go check out what was going on in this next world, and hey, when I got there, what was going on was absolutely nothing. I don't know why they felt the need to push me to, hey, whoa, you seen this place? It's a space arcade and there's nobody there. Try picking up a ball that you can't really throw high enough to hit the nets. Try throwing some darts that are real tough to throw. And I guess I successfully hit this planet with this thing, but I'm not sure what that accomplished. I did it, I think. But at least there weren't any screaming children in this world, so I hung out for a minute and enjoyed the silence before heading into the next world.
Oh, what the Sigma? How did you try to grab your
Into my holy palace.
skibbity toilet? I'll show you.
Welcome, hippopotamus.
So then I removed the headset and took some Tylenol. So based on my personal experience exploring Meta Horizon worlds, there's not much to do, and the biggest reaction I had to anything was like a, huh. And I don't know, I think if you're looking to there are other ways to And yeah, most of these experiences I left with no real desire to return. Every other person present in the worlds I visited was a literal child, which reinforces my desire to not return, which, I mean, it'd be kind of weird if I was like, well, the experiences aren't great, but there's lots of kids, so I'll be going back. What am I, a famous Twitch gaming streamer? This definitely isn't the space that Mark Zuckerberg kind of showcased that it would be, with a mix of work and play and people just hanging out. I can't see anyone my age or older than me going to have a meeting in these worlds and then being like, hey, let's go make some VR pizza. But the fact that these places are filled with children made me think that maybe Meta is playing the long game here. Maybe millennials like me or Gen Z, maybe that's not who they're aiming for here. Maybe it is those kids. If they grow up spending time in the metaverse, playing around as kids, maybe that'll naturally morph into the future in their work life and it'll be a natural thing for them to do all that stuff. Is that the game here, Zuckerberg? What's going on behind those hypnotizing eyes of yours? Anyway, thanks again to Scentbird for sponsoring this video. Don't forget to check them out by scanning the QR code or using code RyanGeorge55 to get 55% off your first month. Hey Meta, how should I end this video?
To end a video, say, hey Meta, stop video.
That's not what I meant. Hey Meta, stop video.
Hi there, hello. Please hit that subscribe button. I am a disembodied head, so you can trust me. You can trust me.